Welcome to another episode of the So-Called Oreos podcast, the podcast where we discuss all the awkwardness, hardship, and hilarity that comes along with society labeling you white on the inside and black on the outside, also known as an Oreo. I am one of your co-hosts, Kia Swin, and I'm here with
Amari Pollard.
Janae Price.
No, I'm super happy to be here. So for folks that aren't familiar with me and my work, so I'm Mecca Woods, and my astrology coaching practice is My Life Created. I'm an author, I'm a writer, and a lot of what I do is showing people how they can use their astrology, their birth chart to basically create the kind of life that they want. So a lot of the things that I talk about beyond just my, horoscopes that you've probably seen in Bustle or Refinery 29. That's just like a few of the places that my horoscopes have shown up. But outside of that, a lot of what I talk about has a lot to do with like self-worth and self-care, particularly for Black women, women of color, queer, disabled folks, those of us who are considered to be on the margins of society. A lot of makes up a lot of my clientele, and a lot of the conversations that I have with people are around like how they can use astrology as a tool to empower themselves.
but we'll get into a more fun side of the conversation. So I'm not going to ask, obviously, through the 12 signs, but there are elements of the signs. And I think for our listeners, so we can kind of like tap into like their elements, can you just give us like the qualities of the four elements and what elements make a good pairing and which ones don't? So if you want to just, I guess fire is the first one. I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, fire, the element of fire, which is Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Fire is the more rowdy bunch of the zodiac. Fire is very dynamic, very assertive, aggressive, creative, and also cares a great deal about self-expression. So whenever you talk about fire, fire is very much about like being able to authentically and freely like express, oneself. When we talk about water, which is Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, water is more intuitive, emotional, sensitive, empathic. Water is most concerned with forming emotional bonds with others, and also holding memory, nostalgia, thinking lots of times about the past or retaining the past is something that water signs can do. And also, being quite energetically open to other people, picking up on, psychic things or clairvoyant, can show up a lot with water signs. Earth is most concerned with the physical world. So, money is one of the expressions of the physical world, the physical body, and feeling good in our bodies and being able to maintain our bodies is something that Earth is concerned with. Earth is also concerned with, stability, and being able to build something that's going to last for a very long time, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a business, whether it's a family. Earth is very concerned with having tangible representations of like wealth and security.
And Earth is Capricorn,
Yes,
Taurus.
right. Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. And then last but not least is air. And air covers the intellectual and interpersonal realm. So air is very curious, very experimental, loves to talk, loves to converse, loves to learn new things and share information, loves to socialize, and talk to people and connect with all kinds of people over the internet, in person. And air sign is Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. So wherever you have air, there's a thirst for knowledge and information, and being able to share that or apply that information in a logical sort of way.
Awesome. And then I could be wrong, but is air like the best pairing for air and fire? And then earth is like earth and water? Are those
Yeah,
generally?
Yeah, so technically, air and fire gets along very well. There's a lot of similarities between the two because both are quite independent and love exploring and learning new things and connecting with people. Um, and then when you talk about earth and water signs are very security driven. So with water, it's emotional security. With earth, like I said, it's like financial security, or physical security. So they tend to go well together because they share very similar qualities or similar needs, I would say. But when it comes to like relationship and compatibility, I'm always telling people like, don't worry about the signs, don't worry about it, because ultimately who we draw to us or who we find ourselves attracted to, whether it's friends, lovers, even with families, there's a certain branch of astrology called evolutionary astrology that kind of delves into like past life stuff. Whether you're into past life stuff or not, it's really an interesting kind of concept to kind of consider, because it kind of talks about a little bit like how we kind of choose like our soul families, and kind of like, because if you notice, like if you do the charts of yourself and like your family, you'll start to see like there's so many overlaps. Like I'm a Sagittarius, my dad's a Sagittarius, my brother's a Sag rising, I'm an Aquarius moon, my mom's an Aquarius. So like my daughter is she's an Aries, but she has a Virgo moon and a Virgo rising, and my mom is a Virgo moon as well. So like it's a lot of like overlap there. So I always tell people not to worry too much about the signs, because we have something to learn from everyone, and we also contain all of those 12 signs in us somewhere as well.
So before you hit on this and you said that not to necessarily look at compatibility. I feel like compatibility is something that attracts so many of us to like astrology, because you're like, ooh, who am I? Who can I end up with? But
Right,
are there
right,
any matches that you see are just made in heaven 9 times out of 10? It's magic.
right. Um, it really, let's see. So it's really nice when you meet your opposite sign. So like, for example, for Sagittarius, my opposite sign is Gemini. For Taurus, the opposite is Scorpio. For Capricorn, the opposite is Cancer. For for Aquarius, the opposite is Leo. So like when you look at your opposite sign, I really like that, because your opposite sign, like you guys tend to bring like balance each other out. And opposition just basically means that you want the same things, but you just have very different methods in doing it, or getting that need, or getting that need fulfilled. So what you end up doing is like you kind of come to, when you do come together, it's like two halves of a whole, so to speak. And the only thing, the only downside with oppositions is that sometimes, because that person is opposite you, it can be very love or hate kind of thing. Like when it's on and it's good, and it's like, wow, like it's almost like dealing with like your twin. But when it's off, it's also really off, because that person kind of shows you everything about yourself that you need to like work on, or you need to like step it up. So I do like oppositions, because like I said, when they work really well.
Uh, I love how you said that because my opposite is Gemini, and like right before you came on, I just went about how much I hate Geminis, and to this, everyone knows I have a personal vendetta against all Geminis, but it's because one of them like just really like it was a guy I was talking like dating for a couple months, and I even told him like on the first date, I asked him the sign, I was like, he said Gemini, and I was like, oh, we're opposite signs, like I'm kind of like your perfect match, like joking, whatever. But then like I showed him all these things about like himself, and I think he showed a lot of things about myself too. But now just the way it ended, I'm just like never a Gemini ever again. But
I'm just going to put it out there for the record. I think all of us know one crazy Gemini, at least one
Absolutely.
Gemini that just fits the Gemini stereotype. I'm done. That's it. That's
I'm
all.
glad
I'm
I'm
done. That's
glad
all
you
I have to say.
validated me. But you
Oh,
talked a lot about the placements in people's charts. How important are like all the placements, and like why do we only really focus on sun signs? And then I feel like the next signs we focus on like moon or our rising sign? Is
Mhm.
there like a reason why those three are the ones we focus on?
Yeah, because those are basically like the driving force in your chart. So like your sun is your creativity, it's your confidence, it's your vitality, it's your ability to authentically express yourself and be unfiltered and unfiltered and as comfortable in your skin as possible. Like that's your sun, right? And the sun has a lot to do with like your purpose too. When we talk about the moon in your chart, the moon represents your feelings and how you process them, what you need to feel emotionally safe and comfortable, what you need to feel nurtured and supported and fulfilled, and also how you nurture, other people as well. Because one of the things that the moon is associated with is like the archetype of mothering or nurturing, so it's kind of like how we mother ourselves, how we mother other people, how we want to be mothered, is very moon signish. And then when we talk about our rising has to do with like how we interact with the world around us, and it also is about like the way that we ideally, sort of imagine ourselves or see ourselves. The rising or our ascendant is also connected to like our physical appearance, like the first impressions that people get when they meet us. So those three pieces are very key. And then, when you go down the line, your Mercury sign is important because it's how you communicate and how you learn. Your Venus sign is important because it has to do with what you value and like your relationship style. Your Mars sign is important because Mars shows you how you get angry and stand up for yourself and how you take action towards things. And then Jupiter is where you derive meaning from things in your life. And then Saturn is like your boundaries and where you need to work the hardest in your life. So those planets that I mentioned, they are what we call your personal planets because they tend to be more um, tailored to who you are on the day that you like on the day and the time that you were born. But when we talk about planets beyond that, like Neptune, Uranus, Pluto, those planets are generational. So you're going to share those planets with like and that's to say like you share your birthday with a lot of people, but because those planets move so slowly, they don't really have the same impact or hit the way the personal planets do, unless those planets in your chart are connected to like your sun, your moon, your rising, your Venus. So that's kind of like how we sort of like weight the planets.
Okay, interesting.
Learning so much. I was rushing to like take notes and I was like, oh, we have this recorded.
Oh my god. I saw you. I was like, is this bitch taking notes on
I
her
know.
laptop?
Like, where do I write this
I was
down?
giggling at Amari's face because
She was like,
I was
like,
doing the same though, honestly. I was doing the same. I feel like this has just saved me all the reading that I never felt like doing whenever I would research this stuff. So
Oh
thank you.
no,
Thank you,
that's what I'm
honestly.
I'm
here
sure a
for.
lot of people. I'm sure a lot of people. So we wanted you to do something fun with the charts. If there was like some quick facts or like our listeners, I feel like they rarely invest in our like dating lives. So if there's like a sign or a placement that we should look forward.
If
I did download Time Passers. I could just tell you a couple of the placements. Does that help, or do you need to see it?
Should we just tell you like our sun, our rising, and our moon?
Or
Um,
Venus?
so if you want to talk about love, let's talk about your Venus signs.
Okay.
Oh,
We
Okay.
love
So
talking about love.
I'll yeah, I'll give you like the ones you mentioned. So my sun is in Sagittarius.
Mhm.
My rising is Virgo. My moon is in Cancer. My Venus is in Scorpio. And I know you mentioned Mars is communication, or is it Mercury?
Mercury's communication. Mars is how you like is your passion and your anger.
Okay, so Mars is in Virgo and Mercury is in Capricorn. And my Jupiter is also in Sagittarius.
Okay, Sun, Jupiter. I like that.
Yeah.
Larger than life. I like it big. Everything big. when we talk about that Venus in Scorpio, that turns that Sagittarius energy way on its ear, because Sag typically is known as being like the bachelor and I need my independence and don't hold me down. But that Venus in Scorpio is like, I want you and only you, and I want you to want me too, and no one else ever again in life, or I'll kill you. But
I know, because everyone's like, "Ooh, that Venus in Scorpio, that's possessive," and I'm like, ugh.
but no, but I mean, she, Venus in Scorpio can be a possessive kind of gal, but I would say at the end of the day, when you have Venus in Scorpio, you value intimacy, you value trust in relationships, you value the ability to have like no holds barred, no secrets, and the only reason why Venus and Scorpio, or Scorpio planets in general can get possessive is when there's a threat, of, or there's insecurity of feeling like someone's going to abandon me, or someone's going to betray me, or someone is going to, reject me. You know what I mean? Like that's when Scorpio gets like, I need to have this and make you, do this way. But, with you having that Venus in Scorpio, it just really means that at the end of the day, intimacy, connection, trust, all of those things are really, really pivotal to your relationships.
And what would be a good match to the Venus and Scorpio?
So if you're a Sag with a Venus and Scorp blend, you should date like you could date an Aries Pisces blend, like that would work.
Okay.
Kia, that's me.
Oh, yay! Look at that. Look at that.
That's hilarious. Oh my god. Well, the last guy / current guy, it's an Aries. I don't know if he has a Pisces placement, but he's an Aries. But okay, I never talked to a Pisces. So that's pretty interesting. Everyone I act is fire. So my ex is a Leo and the last guy's an Aries, and then all my friends are like fire and air. And like you said on the chart, I don't have any air in the chart. And then I only have Sag in the Sun and Jupiter.
Yeah. So whatever we tend to lack in our charts, people will show up to bring that to us.
Interesting. Okay, let's
I
go
want to go.
next.
I want to go. Okay. So I'm an Aries with I guess Scorpio rising and a Aries moon, but my Venus is a Pisces.
Okay, where's your Mars?
Great question. Oh, it's a Leo.
Leo. Okay. All right. So all that Scorpio and Aries is answering to that Mars and Leo, which means that when it comes to love, okay, so Venus in Pisces needs romance, right? She needs romance. She needs to be swept off her feet. That's also indicated by that Mars and Leo, because when it comes to Mars and Leo, you need someone, whoever's pursuing you, you need them to go big, like catch my attention, like bang me over the head and let me know, like like let me know it's real, you know what I mean? like that's
Don't bore me.
Right, don't bore me. I need fashion, I need action, I need steam, I need passion, like like Leo is very like do it big, and Pisces is very like romantic and very like fantasy driven. So like if you get someone who wants to share the fantasy with you, but also still wants to stay there, stick around, because sometimes Venus and Pisces, you have you have some challenging in sort of like trying to turn frogs into like princes or princesses, you know what I mean? Like you can see the beauty in a person and the potential, but unless that person is willing to live up to that potential, it can be quite a waste of time and your love energy, so when you have Venus and Pisces, it's really important to be very honest with yourself about what it is that you want, and making sure that you hold to that, so that when you're attracting someone to you, you can make sure that that person also wants those things too, and that they're willing to share those things or give those things to you.
I felt that because I'd be kissing the same frog for years, hoping.
That's why I was like, does Mecca know the podcast? When you said it for me too, I was like, ooh, This makes a lot of sense.
Okay, so I'll go next. My sun is in Capricorn. My moon is Aries. My rising is Leo. My Venus is Capricorn. And then Mars,
Mhm.
that's Capricorn as well.
Cap.
A lot of my chart is in Capricorn.
Cap. Okay. I love me a Cap Aries blend because you are going to be the very self motivated, very self driven. You know, I'll handle it. I'll take care of it. You know, I'll make it happen. Um, though here's the thing, with you having that Leo rising, and that Venus in Capricorn, it's really really important that you don't settle for utilitarian relationships, you know, like, oh, I'll just take this much. I don't really need the mushy stuff. I don't need the extra. Like I'll just, you know, we could keep it cute and casual because that Leo rising wants the attention. You know, she wants to be romanced. She wants the spotlight on her. She wants to be made to feel like she's the only one in the room. And it's really important that you acknowledge that need for like that devotion and that attention, because as a Venus in Cap, you know, and as a Cap, you know, Mars and Sun, like you're going to give that devotion, you're going to give that commitment, because the big thing with Capricorn is commitment. You know, I want something, you know, that's going to last. I'm going to, you know, put this time and this energy into it that's going to build something. We're going to grow this. And if you are with someone who you know, they look good on paper but they're not really invested, you know, in you the way that they should be, then it could feel like you're kind of like casting your pearls to swine, so to speak, you know what I mean? So for you it's really about one thing is it's about like recognizing your need for the extra or the more, you know, and not trying to like just kind of get by on like the little basics, you know, or like the scraps. And then the other part of it is making sure that you value yourself enough to ask for the more. Because one thing about that Venus and Cap is that sometimes, because you're very goal oriented and very outcome, you know, oriented, you can sometimes be a little too self-critical, you know, or a little too hard on yourself, and be looking for the other person to show you how special you are. And you need to be able to show you that to yourself, which will bring that person who will be able to match that energy.
Oh
I feel
my God,
attacked.
this is crazy.
Favorite episode.
I feel, wow. Wow, you
I
saw
just
me.
feel like, wow, we all know like kind of each other's like relationship background or like
Yeah.
history, and then I just feel like you had it to a T. Like I'm just like, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah, that was really spot on. To get personal, I was in a very, very long situationship, which it was a relationship, but basically he didn't like to do the frills. He didn't like to do any of that. And I just constantly found myself settling and really just taking whatever. And I think oftentimes with relationships, I kind of get into this like, oh, it's okay, you know, and I'm trying to
Right.
break out of that now, but thank you. You were very spot on. Very spot on.
Thanks.
Okay. Thanks so much for tuning into this week's episode. Follow us on all social media at so-called Oreos, and you can email us at socalledoreos@gmail.com. You can listen to us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, and Google Play. And please remember to like, rate, subscribe, and leave a review. Until next time, bye.
Bye.
Bye.